There are lots of glitches in the system about this time of year, I think. Do you ever have a week where things don't sort of always go as well as you planned? Or is it only me? I'm sure I'm the only one that does this. I had an interesting discussion with my daughter. Most of you know my daughter. She's now 9 years old. Can't believe that. I was looking at pictures of her when she started coming here as a 2-year-old. And now she's a 9-year-old. And we're coming to Christmas. 9-year-olds get pretty excited about Christmas. I guess you're not surprised at that either, are you, really? Do you get excited about Christmas? Yeah? Who's a Christmas person here? Hands up. Few of you. I'm not so much a Christmas person. I can be a bit grinchy at Christmas time. I know you find that hard to believe, don't you? I'm such a sort of jolly fellow most of the time. My daughter said to me the other day, what am I getting for Christmas? And I said, well, what do you want Father Christmas to bring you? And it dawned on me, she's got to that age where she actually doesn't really believe in Father Christmas. But she knows if she says she doesn't believe in Father Christmas, she might not get the gift that she wants. She's become very utilitarian in her understanding of Father Christmas. And so we play this game. I pretend that she knows, and she pretends to give assent to the fact that she knows about Father Christmas, where both of us really, underneath it all, know that Father Christmas is really the person like myself and my wife who goes out and buys the Christmas present for her. And she will inevitably get what's put on the list, whether she's naughty or whether she's nice, because she's always nice, she tells me, about this time of year. I love the way that we can justify these things off. And I was reading through this passage and thinking to myself, oh, here we are again, you know, in the time of Advent. And as I said last time, when are we going to get to the good things? I was messing around under there, and there he is, baby Jesus from last year. He hasn't come out, so I assure you that baby Jesus is alive and well, despite the fact that we've been doing a lot of reading about John the Baptist. And it occurred to me in this reading that there are a number of things that we should start thinking about. Why is John the Baptist so prominent in the Advent story? Because it's not the sort of story that we would perhaps like to celebrate, would we? We much want to get to the Jesus and have the presents and all the jingle bells and the nice songs. And I am a bit of a heretic because we do sing nice Christmas carols through the period of Advent. I know that there are colleagues which would hang, draw and quarter me for singing hymns or carols during the Advent time, because you only sing carols during Christmas time. So, but take it as you will. Christmas. And so I'm talking about my daughter. I'm reading this passage on John, and I'm thinking about my beloved congregation here and what their expectations are for Christmas. What are your expectations? I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind. So help me here. What are your expectations for Christmas?
Family gathering.
Family gathering. Okay. So you're on your own there, Dorothy. Is there anyone else who's got any other expectations?
Food on the table.
Food on the table, yeah. Yeah, food's great round about Christmas time. Yeah, although I hated turkey as a kid. Probably the forerunner for a why I would be so grinchy. And guess what we always had on Christmas Day? Turkey. Go figure. What other things are you looking forward to this Christmas?
Time off from work.
Time off from work. I love the pragmatism once again. Other things.
Catching up with
Everybody's
friends.
well.
Everybody's well. Catching up with friends. Anything else?
Sometimes you catch up with people you don't catch up with.
Yeah, it's an unexpected sort of time. You might catch up with a family member or a friend you haven't seen for a while.
Same with Christmas cards too.
Christmas cards. Now, what are they? Tell me. I haven't had a Christmas card this year. In fact, most of my friends now don't send Christmas cards. They just send an email. Are you like... It's not the same, is it? Not the same. It's like nostalgia. It isn't as good as it used to be. Any other things that you're looking forward to?
Time for those who come once a year.
Time for those
Who come once a year.
who come once a year? Yeah? Yeah? To the church? Yes. We sometimes see our numbers swell a little bit because we might...
Singing carols.
Going to say,
go here and then there.
I was going to say something about presents, but this year and last year, our family do a Kiva Christmas, and that's giving no interest loans to people all over the world who are in poverty and need a little bit of a help on. And the whole family have adopted it. We all give each other Kiva gifts.
I want to tell you a story about that. One year we decided that we wanted to do something like that, and we were going to give a goat to some family in Africa. And my poor daughter wondered how we were going to wrap it up and get it there. So what's this got to do with the Baptist story and everything? Well, I like the story because it is an unexpected story. It's a story that we can relate to because we heard about John the Baptist, who was baptising Jesus and very gung-ho in the wilderness, bringing down upon other people all kinds of evils for not doing what was good and saying repent and perish. But today, surprisingly, we find John the Baptist languishing in a prison. His life is about to be taken, as we will find out. And what is going through his mind? Well, doubt. Doubt that, is this really the one? The one that I baptised in the wilderness that time ago? Are you really the one? He says to the disciples to ask of Jesus. And what does Jesus say in return? Go away and tell them what you have seen. What did he suggest? That the blind can see? That those who have skin diseases are healed? That the lame walk? In fact, the manifesto that Jesus proclaims at the beginning of Luke, where he talks about these things, which we sing a little bit of as we came in this morning. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. That's how Jesus starts his ministry, and then goes on to talk about how there is this restoration. And so what I want to say is that despite of the joy of the Christmas story, sometimes there is the difficulty and the pragmatics of how we believe. Because not every time we come into Christmas or to this time of year, we feel abundantly happy or joyful or even hopeful about what is going to happen. We might be weighed down by other things. Certainly, I think, in the life of the Uniting Church and some of the conversations that have been going around, there's a deep concern regarding the future of our denomination. And spending some time with a number of colleagues on Friday who were discussing where ordained ministry might be in 5 years' time, I have to tell you there weren't too many positive thoughts coming out. And yet, how can we hold and go into this time with some sense of hope and restoration within all of that? And I take heart in what Jesus says to John the Baptist. Go and say what you have seen. Tell what you have seen. Now, the cynical side of myself says, well, you can't see too many blind people getting back their sight here. You can't see too many lame people walking. You can't see too many people healed of skin disease. But then I look around this congregation and I see people who have been doing amazing things in the most ordinary way for a long time. People who have dedicated their lives to the betterment and the furtherment of the gospel in the lives of other people. The reason why we have a record year in the op shop is not because people just want to come in and spend money and feel benevolent towards our op shop, but because we are fulfilling a need. There's other parts of our ministries that necessarily haven't been so successful, but have made impacts in the life of other people. I was talking recently to someone who was part of the men's shed when we started off quite a while ago and hasn't been around for a while. And just how he said, just having people who were interested in listening to his story was something that had opened up his eyes and made him feel a bit more able to go out and confront the world again. There are stories that we talk of in Christmas Bowl. You know, we don't know how much our faithfulness is going to affect the lives of others somewhere else. And guess what? When I open my eyes and I go and look, the church is doing amazing things in amazing places. We are doing it here in our congregation, but other congregations around this country, around the world, are making a difference in the name of the gospel. That the gospel story can be lost within our everyday is very true. And we can lament about the fact that our congregations are shrinking in size, that ordained ministry seems to have somehow lost its meaning for some, and that the future is questionable. And yet, in that moment of doubt and that feeling of where's this all going, we can then go and look and see what is happening. I would add that our job is not to just keep the denomination going or to make sure that we have nice churches, but our job is actually to go and give good news to other people, to empower lives, not to keep buildings or institutions sustained, but to change lives for the better. And so I am confronted by which vision of Christmas today I would like to take. On one hand, I can take the Father Christmas attitude. You know, we all like Father Christmas, don't we? Like my daughter. We want to believe in the sense of this giving and nice presents and it all looking good for us. Do you like presents? I do. I like the ones which are useful, particularly. Although sometimes you get weird presents, do you ever get weird presents, strange ones? And you think, what on earth would I want that for? And you've got to be nice to the person that's given them to you. You know, and there was one stage I thought, how many hankies do I really need in the world? How many hankies do I really need? But then there's another vision, a vision of a man called John the Baptist, who is perhaps not quite as cuddly and as nice and as jovial as the vision of Father Christmas. Because this man is unpleasant, unkept. We'd be a bit scared to let him in our congregation because he might get up in the middle of the service and say something that we don't want to hear. Has a strange diet, acts in a strange way and lives in a strange place. But it's interesting, the real story of Christmas doesn't involve Father Christmas, but involves John the Baptist. That it is not without, or not by accident, that we actually have John the Baptist in the beginning of our Advent and through our Advent, because it's all part of this story. A story that turns life upside down, that says the have-nots will have, and those who have, things will be taken away. Gospel of Luke. It talks about justice. It talks about mercy. Father Christmas, for all it's worth, and the jingling of our bells down at Chadstone or Northland or any of the other shopping centres are not going to bring that sense of justice, sense of peace, sense of restoration of people to where they should be. But the real story of Christmas, as we approach this, is simply this. God changes our lives. And that is great news. Because for some of us, as we go into this period, as I said, even here in this congregation, some of us have done it tough over the last 12 months. Some of us don't see a heck of a lot of joy. Some of us may be grieving a recently passed or a long lost other person who is in our life. And let me say one thing for sure, and I'm going to be prophetic here. This congregation is going to face significant challenges in the next few years. Without doubt, I say that. But I also give the word that God is the restorer and bringer of love, justice, peace and compassion. As we come towards Christmas, which vision will you take? Will you be like my daughter and sort of, for the pragmatics of it all, say, Father, Christmas is great, and I'll just sit down and turn the television up a few notches louder so that I don't have to hear some of the things I don't want to hear? Or will you look at this strange, odd character who, for all of his faults and for all of his doubts in John the Baptist, talks of a kingdom of repentance and restoration? Amen.